Hello YouTube! This video is part of my build series for the 3D printable Jabba's Palace complete with hangar. I am going to build the whole thing. I purchased this massive set of 3D printable files from Massassi for my 3.75-inch or 1:18 scale Star Wars figures. I will include the link in the description below. Today we are going to work on set 1, the Rancor Pit. In this diagram, you can see where the Rancor Pit fits in with all the other sets on the top floor. In this video, I'll show you how I set up my slicer, how I made the print, how to remove the supports, and how to assemble all the pieces. This is my main printer, the Anycubic Cobra 3. It's a nice, beginner-friendly, budget-conscious printer that you can get for a couple of $100. And I use the Anycubic Slicer Next software when I do any slicing. My backup printer is the Anycubic Cobra 2 Pro, which is the first printer I ever bought, so I keep using it so that I can have two going at the same time. So far, the only filament that I've been using is from Anycubic, and it's gray PLA, and I buy it from Amazon. I buy it in a box that contains 4 rolls at a time, and this seems to be the cheapest way to get it. So for the filament settings, I made a few changes. Under the filament tab, I decreased the other layers and the first layer print temperature to 200 because it reduces stringing. And I increased the print bed temperature to 63 from 60, which was the default, because it helps with bed adhesion. Here are my cooling settings. And finally, under setting overrides, I enabled retraction so that the nozzle does not hit the print. So the length of 1 millimeter, Z hop of 1 millimeter, and retraction speed of 50. I had to set those because that was off by default. So for the actual print settings, these are the settings that I use for the quality tab. And I'm just going to show you all of them, and I'll leave it for a second, but I won't go over it. So here's strength, speed, support, multi-material, which the Cobra 3 allows you to print with 4 different colors of filament. So I don't use that. I didn't buy that feature. So it's all turned off. And here's the others tab. The other thing I did that I think is critical and it makes a great difference is I turned on variable layer control. So for all the pieces, I would select the object, I'd click the variable layer height icon, and I'd set it to 0 under adaptive and then click the adaptive button. And then it will print the pieces that need more attention and they have more shapes to them. They'll have a lower layer height, and then the straight up pieces like the bases will have a higher layer height, which prints faster. Finally, for smaller objects or objects that have a lot of detail, I like to slow the printing down to 50 millimeters per second. But then I keep all the rest of the other settings. So here we are, printing happily like crazy. On the left, we have the Anycubic Cobra 3, and that's the one I'm going to use mostly for the bigger pieces. And on the right is the Anycubic Cobra 2 Pro, which I'm using for the smaller pieces. Once all the objects are printed, it's time to remove the supports and clean them up. So I've got everything done for set 1, and as I took them off the printer, I removed a lot of the tree supports and the brims on the bigger pieces. So I'm just looking at the larger pieces. Mainly there's stuff on the numbers. See that? There's some extra, so that's good. I can just pull those out, and then I can use a file to screw them off. You can also use 220 grit sandpaper to smooth the edges. So it looks like the edges are pretty good in general. So that's good. And then for the smaller pieces, I just have to snap off the brim. I want to be careful not to damage the piece. And then when the brim is off, we want to sand the edges smooth and just clean it up a bit. If you have any stringing, I like to use a lighter, and you can just melt, just touch it lightly, and you can melt the stringing off. And if you have anything that's hard in there, you can use a dental pick. So I'm just going to continue and clean up all the pieces, and then we'll start assembling it. If we look at the excellent instructions provided by Massassi, we can see how we're supposed to assemble all the pieces. Here I've laid out all the pieces in the same way that the instructions say, and I've laid them out on a flat surface so I can glue them all up and everything will be aligned properly. We're going to start with pieces 1 and 2, and Massassi recommends using these pins, 3 millimeters by 14 millimeter length. I chose from Amazon, but the important thing is 3 millimeters. And they stick in the holes that are on all the pieces actually. And then it'll help us align them, and it'll give us a little bit of extra strength. So there's the pin there. Again, I'm going to use clear Gorilla Glue to glue the bigger pieces together. So I'll just spread a couple of drops. And I'll put the whole pin through the hole. And I'm pushing them tightly together. When the glue is dry, I'll glue up the next 2 pieces, and so on until it's all put together. So we'll just wait for this to dry, and then we'll keep going. And here is the finished model all glued together. I will continue my build in the next video, and I'll provide a link to the playlist below. Thank you for watching my build series video for the 3D printable Jabba's Palace complete with hanger from Massassi. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. If you have any other ideas or tips for how to complete any of the steps that I've shown, please leave us a comment below.